Hey everybody, it's Ian the Off Kilter Crafter. I hope you're having a great day today. I stopped in yet again at So Sweet Bakery and got another sweet treat from them. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what this month's treat is. We've got clue number 4, and remember that I'm doing clue 4 of the large So Sweet powdered puzzle mystery quilt. Let's go ahead and open up this package and see what's inside. And of course, by the way, I have my fabric guide and also my instructions for the clues. I do have the clue for the small quilt as well, so if you need help, you can always leave a question on my social media and I will do my best to answer. But all the ambassadors for Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilts, we do get the large and small clues, so that way we can help y'all out. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the fabric in this package. We have 12 squares, small squares of fabric A. We have 4 small triangles of fabric A. We have 4 small triangles of fabric C. We have 8 small squares of fabric F. We have 4 rectangles of fabric A. We also have 12 large triangles of fabric A. I had a couple of triangles hiding in there. There are 4 large triangles of fabric E. We have 8 large triangles of fabric C. And last but not least, over here, because I don't have enough room, we have 12 large squares of A fabric. So these are all the fabrics in our packets for, wow, that was weird. I like turned into a 16-year-old boy right then. These are all the fabrics that are in this packet for clue 4 of the large clue. And looking over at the instructions, this looks very familiar. We have already done some very similar clues, or a similar clue to this, but we did it reverse. This is going to be like a mirror image of that clue. I don't remember which one it is off the top of my head. I think it was clue 2 if I remember. So this is just kind of like a mirror image of that clue. But we are going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to take all this fabric and put it onto the table behind me, and we'll get started with step number 1. Okay, for step number 1, we're going to start off really easy. We're going to make our half square triangles. It says to join, oh, by the way, we're doing section 4. Clue 4, and we'll be making 4 of this section. We're going to be making all 4 of them at the same time. Starting off with step number 1, it says to join a small triangle of A, whoops, that's this one, to a small triangle of C. I always try to, like my brain works left to right, so I always, since this one's on the left, I always go to this one first. But anyways, we're going to start off with our A triangle, and we're going to attach it to a C triangle to make half square triangles, and we're going to make 4 of these in total. So just very easy, just making 4 half square triangles, and I'll come back here when it's time to press it all out. Okay, I have completed sewing those together. I am now pressing them out, and in the instructions, the arrow is pointing towards our A fabric, so I am pressing towards our A fabric. Remember, half square triangles work best if you push up on the first half of it and then go over and open it up. It seems to help with the warping. Ooh, that is hot, 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 hot. All right, so I have gotten those turned around, and so now we have our C and A half square triangles all put together, so I have 4 of those in total. I'm going to go ahead and grab this one, and we'll move on to step number 2. All right, moving on to step number 2, it says to join a small square of A to the right of step 1, and we're going to make 4 of these. So all we're doing is just matching up our colors together. Be careful, I've sometimes taken mine over to the sewing machine and accidentally put it the wrong way. So pay attention, so that way you have your A fabrics touching, and then over here in the lower left corner we have your C fabric pointing away. So this is what it should look like, and we're going to make 4 of these in total. Okay, I've completed sewing those together, and the instructions have the arrow pointing towards our half square triangle of A and C fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and press all 4 out towards that. Now you might be freaking out a little bit because I think I've said this before, but you may notice that your C fabric doesn't get completely covered up into the corner with your A fabric, and that's okay, because remember, our seam allowance should come across this line right here. In fact, so it should hit right where those fabrics all meet, and if you aim for that, it should work out nicely. Okay, so I have all 4 of those. I'm going to go ahead and set 3 of them off to the side, and we're going to move on to our step number 3. Okay, moving on to step number 3, it says to join a rectangle of A above step 2, and we're going to make 4 of these in total. So we're just going to add on that block so that it matches up with all the other A fabric, and I'll come back when it's time to press them all out. Well, I just pressed this one without the camera on. I forgot to turn on the camera. Ugh, that's so annoying when I do that. Anyways, we're pressing this towards that A rectangle, so I'm pressing it out just like that. And now we have all 4 that look like this. It's looking really great. I'm gonna go ahead and set these off to the side and grab my next fabric for step number 4. All right, step number 4 is another easy one. All we're going to be doing is we're going to join a large square of A to the right of step number 3, and we're going to make 4 of these in total. So we're just adding that on just like that. Super easy, super simple. So let's get that out of the way. All right, I have completed all 4 of those. It's time to press this, and we're pressing this towards our large A square. I almost tried to call it a triangle. This is definitely a square. Apparently I need to go back to kindergarten and learn my shapes. All right, there we go. So there is all 4 of them. What I find most interesting is the way that the fabric lands whenever they cut out at cotton cuts, whenever they're cutting them out. You never quite know exactly what pattern you're going to get, especially on these smaller triangles. I remember when I did Sparkle and Shine, they used some Tula Pink fabric that had a skunk in it, and I don't think, I may have gotten maybe like one face of a skunk, but I mostly just got the bodies of the skunk, which not a big deal, but I just find it very interesting how you never quite know exactly what you're going to end up with. Like I got one parrot head and the rest of them are just wings and wing tips. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of interesting. All right, so we're going to go ahead and set these off to the side, it looks like. And we're going to move on to step number 5. All right, moving right along to step number 5, it says to join a square of F, a small square of F, to a small square of A as shown. And we're going to make 8 of these in total because we're going to be doing that checkerboard thing again. So we're going to go ahead and make 8 of these, which will turn into 4 when we're all set. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Yes, I don't know what I'm thinking at this moment. All right, so anyways, yes, it'll turn into 4. I don't know what I was thinking there for a moment. Anyways, we're going to start off by putting these 2 together, so along this seam right here, and we're going to make 8 in total, which will become 4 when we move on to step 6, but we're not quite there yet, so let's go ahead and get this done. All right, I have put together the A and F fabric. We're going to be pressing towards our A square. So our, well, at least on my colorway, it's the turquoise fabric and the solid fabric, just like that. So we have all 8, and I'm going to go ahead and set these off to the side, and we're going to move on to step number 6. Okay, moving on to step number 6, it says to turn step 5 upside down, then join another step 5 unit, and we're going to make 4 of these in total. So all we're going to do right now, I have them of course matched up the correct way, but I'm going to turn this 180 degrees so that way we make a checkerboard just like this. And you might notice that since I don't know which way these are going to end up in my quilt, I kind of randomize and mix mine together. So you'll notice, since on my colorway I have kind of a directional fabric. It's not exactly a directional fabric, it can go either way. But for instance, on this one I'm going to have the diamonds going vertically, and then on this one I'm going to have them going horizontally. At least I sometimes try to do that, I don't always. But since I never know exactly where they're going to end up in the quilt, you can't really predict which way is going to be up and which way is going to be down. So I will a lot of times do this randomization so that way I get a little bit of variety going through the quilt, and it might stick out like a sore thumb if there is all of them going one direction except for one that's going a different direction. I don't know though, because we don't know what the final quilt looks like. So that's what I do, and that's my logic behind how I sew my pieces together. However, you may be different and may just sew them together, which is perfectly fine. It is all up to you and how you want to do it and how you want to approach it. It's not a big deal if you decide that you want it to do like mine, or if you just want to grab off the stack and sew them together, that's perfectly fine too. It doesn't really matter when it comes down to it. So I'm going to go ahead and take these over to my sewing machine, and I am going to sew them together. Darn it, I just did it again. I didn't have my camera on and I was pressing. All right, we're going to press. In the instructions it says to press upwards. There really is no up, because if you rotate this 180 degrees, it's the same thing. But as long as you're pressing them all the same way, that's all that matters. So I have all 4 of my step 6, which look like this, and you'll see these go vertically, these go horizontally. That's just how I did them. All right, I'm going to set these off to the side because we are ready to move on to step 7. Okay, for step 7, it sounds like the yard people have decided that they want to come take care of the yard at my apartment complex. So sorry if you can hear the leaf blowers and stuff like that. Anyways, moving on. Step 7 says to join a large triangle of A to a large triangle of E. And we're going to make 4 of these. Again, we're using one of my favorite fabrics in this fabric line. We've got these cute little fruits. And we're just going to do more half square triangles, but bigger this time. And we're going to make 4 of those in total. So I'm going to go ahead and put this together, and I'll meet you back here when it's time to press it out. All right, it is time to press it towards our A fabric. I should probably grab my bigger iron, my regular sized iron, to do this, but honestly this little iron works perfectly even in these bigger clues, because it just glides over them and it just works so nicely. So really like using it. All right, so there we go. We have all 4 of those half square triangles put together, and let's go ahead and move on to step 8. Step 8 is another easy one. All we're going to do is attach our step 6 to the right of step 7. Excuse me, this is step 7 on the left. Step 6 is on the right. And basically we're just going to match them up just like this, making sure that our A fabrics align next to each other in the middle, I guess, in the top middle. I was thinking like, how could I best describe it? But see, that's wrong. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that at the top, middle of our clues, our A fabric matches up. So I'm going to go ahead and make 4 of these, and I'll come back when it's time to press them out. All right, I have sewn all 4 of those together, and the instructions tell us to press towards our AE half square triangle like I'm doing right now, although this one's not doing such a great job of pressing out for some reason, but I will get it into submission here, sort of. It may be a little wonky, but that's okay. All right, so there is all 4 of our step number 8. Let's go ahead and move on to step number 9. All right, step 9 says to join step 8 above step 4, and we're going to make 4 of these. So all we're going to be doing is just I have my entire stack here, so that's why it looks a little funny. Let me go ahead and move that over there, and then I'll take this one and put this one here. All right, that looks a little better. All we're going to do is go ahead and join these together just like so. Step 8 on top of step 4, and we're going to make 4 of these when it's all said and done with. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, I have put all those together. We're going to press downwards towards our, if I flip this right side up, we're going to be pressing towards this part down here that has our small C triangle pointing away. We're going to be pressing towards that. So I'm going to flip it upside down basically, and then press towards the bottom half, or what was that, step 4. I'm going to press towards step 4 per the arrows pointing on our instructions. All right, so there we go. There is all 4 of those, and it looks like we're going to go ahead and put these off to the side while we finish up the rest of this clue. So I'm going to move on to step 10. All right, moving on to step 10. This should feel very familiar. We've done this a lot on this project. We're going to be doing our A triangle, our large A triangle, and our C large triangle. We're going to be putting those together, joining those together, and we're going to be creating these larger half square triangles because we're going to make those bow tie or hourglass shapes that we've made several times so far in this project. So I'm going to go ahead and put all 8 of these together, and I'll meet you back here when it's time to press out all 8. All right, I have sewn all those together. My machine kept trying to eat my half square triangles, the points of them at least. So I had to fight a little bit with my machine. She's been a naughty girl. But anyways, there we go. We are done with our step 10. We're going to move on to step 11. All right, moving on to step 11, it says to join a large square A to the right of step 10, and we're going to make 8 of these. So basically, we're just going to put these together like this. Your C fabric will be sandwiched in between your A and A fabric whenever you're looking at it, just like that. So we're going to go ahead and put all, I almost said 10, we're going to put all 8 of these together, and I'll come back when it's time to press it out. All right, I have sewn together all 8 of those. I'm pressing them out towards my AC half square triangle. And there we go, just like that. And now it's time to move on to step 12. Okay, moving on to step 12, it says to turn step 11 unit upside down, then join to another step 11 unit. We're going to make 4 of these. So we're just going to turn one of them 180 degrees and adhere it or join it to the bottom of step 11. So that way we form the bow tie, hourglass, whatever you want to call it. We're going to form that shape with our C fabric forming that bow tie or that hourglass. I'm going to go ahead and put all 4 of these together and I'll meet you back here. Okay, I have sewn all those together and the instructions tell us to press towards the top. And again, since this clue or this portion is, it doesn't really matter which way is up, as long as you're consistent, that's all that really matters. So there we go, we have finished step 12. All right, moving on to step 13. In our last step, it says to join step 12 unit to the right of a step 9 unit, and we're going to make 4 of these. So your small C triangle should be pointing away to the left, and your bow tie should be over here on the right. We're going to go ahead and sew it right along the seam, right in the middle, and it should be just as easy as that. I'm going to go ahead and put all 4 of these together and I'll meet you back here when it's time to press it out. Okay, there we go. I have put together all 4 and now we are pressing per what the arrows point towards. We're going to be pressing towards, there are just threads everywhere. We're going to be pressing towards, let's see, that was step, whatever the first part of our step was. Anyways, we're going to be pressing towards the left, basically. What did we do? Where did we do that at? That was our step 8. Whenever step 8 was completed, this part right here. I am a little frazzled because my machine has just been fighting me all day long. Anyways, there we go. We are done with our clue number 4. Label this as either section 4 or clue 4. I always write clue. It's the same thing. But I'm going to go ahead and label these as clue 4. And we are done until next month when we get clue 5. And we'll be starting in on the halfway point next month. Super exciting as always.